Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 182. Today I'm going to talk about the great Heartland Hauling Company. This is a game from Dice Hype Me Games. It plays 2 to 4 players and it says 30 to 45 minutes. Definitely doable in 30 minutes. I've played 2 games in an hour several times. It's most like Ticket to Ride. If you just had to pick a game and then say, okay, it's kind of like that. It kind of most reminds me of Ticket to Ride. You've got a set of cards that you can choose from, a display of cards you can draw from there or the top of the deck. And then every round, you're basically going to be playing some cards and then refilling your hand and moving little trucks around, little semi-trucks to pick up and deliver goods. And then you turn those goods into points and you play until you reach X number of points based on the number of players. And then that's the last round. Whoever has the most money at the end of the round is the winner. So let's take a quick look at it, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think. As you can see here, this is a very, very tiny box. I can actually fit this box in a large jacket pocket, no problem. And let me say right off the bat that there is actually quite a bit of game packed into this tiny box. And it's also a very small price point. You can get it for 20 bucks. I think you can only get this right now on GameSalute or boardsandbits.com. I don't think you can get it anywhere else. I could be mistaken about that. But for 20 bucks, for the size of the box, there's a lot of game in here. So based on the number of players, you're going to set out sort of a little map, a little board, and you can set it up a number of different ways. There's various configurations. Based on the number of players, you're going to use more or less cards. You're always going to place your truck starting on the distribution center in the middle of the board, or you can even randomly put the distribution center somewhere else if you want. And then you can never end your turn on a distribution center. You're always going to be moving your trucks and then taking an action, but you can never end on the distribution center after the start of the game. The game comes with these handy little player aids, which you won't really need after your first turn, but on the back side they have some alternate setups that you can, again, play with, and as you play the game more, you'll definitely want to play around with these. So on your turn, the first thing that you're going to do is move your truck. You always got to move your truck, and you're either going to pay with gas cards or with actual money. Now you can't combine both. You can't pay a little bit with a gas card and a little bit with money, but you can move a maximum of 3 spaces whether you choose to spend gas cards or money to move. After you move, you can take one of 3 actions. You can either pick up goods from the space that you're on, and to do that, you're going to have to discard 1 card for each good of the same type that you want to pick up. The next thing you can do is sell, and to do that, you've got to discard cards again of matching goods inside of your truck, and then it's basically a 1-for-1 again, and then you're going to get the price listed on the card that wants it. So you can see on each card there's a symbol at the top. That is what the native good is for that card, and then the 2 symbols at the bottom, that's the price that they'll give for each good of that type. The last action available to you on your turn is to basically just discard. So if you can't pick up any goods or can't drop off any goods or don't want to, you can spend $1 and then you can discard as many cards as you want. Then after you take one of those 3 actions, you're basically going to refuel, which basically means to refill your hand. So you just draw back up to 5 cards and then that's your turn. And as I said before, the game's going to end when a player hits a certain dollar amount based on the number of players. So in a 2-player game, as soon as somebody hits 50 bucks, then that's going to be their last turn. Everybody else will get a turn, and then you're going to see whoever has the most money at the end of the game. Now you are going to lose money for any cubes that you have left in your truck. So the pink and the black cubes, you're going to lose $2 per each cube that you have left in your truck, and then the green and the yellow, you're going to lose $1 for. So that is pretty much the basic game, and I would say actually I think that's just fine to play if you just want to play a quick little filler. There's a couple other things to keep in mind as far as moving your truck. And I've seen people, at least in their first couple turns, kind of get a little bit confused. It's like, oh, I always have to move, and then I can pick up and drop off. So you can't like drop off goods and then move. So, I've seen that, screw people up a little bit, but once you get it, you get it. The other thing to keep in mind is you can't move diagonally, and you can't ever land on a space with another truck. So there's a little bit of kind of blocking that you can try to do with the basic game. But there's an advanced variant, it's called, but this is the way I would usually play, is if you look at the route cards, on the one side they have a little circle, and that's sort of the basic side. But if you flip the card over, there's a triangle on that side, and you can see some different sort of roadblocks and hazards and things like that. So when you set the game up, you're going to shuffle them up and then kind of randomly deal out, and then have some cards that have a hazard on them and some that don't. Now there's 3 types of hazards. So you've got way stations, and those are little blue rectangles with a cube in them. And that basically means that if you move across that card on that edge from either side, then you're going to have to pay $1 for each cube over 4 inside your truck. The next one here is a toll road, and basically every time I move across an edge with a little dollar symbol, then you're going to have to pay $1 every single time. And then finally there's the road closed sign with the orange stripes, and basically just means you can't move across that at all. So actually there's quite a bit of configurability in the game. You can shape out the map however you want, set up the different hazards and things like that, and then you're going to have different sort of markets and demands that are going to sort of occur based on the cubes that are going to be dealt out on the different cards, and then where you can sell those cubes for the most, and then you're going to have to try to work out your routes there, but everybody kind of sees that. And then you've also got to consider the marketplace of where you're going to sort of draw cards from. I call it a marketplace because it's kind of interesting because people kind of build up maybe a certain color of card. So if I go for yellow, I'm going to need to get yellow cards to pick up the goods, but I also want more to drop them off. So those will kind of get sort of sucked out of that market. And then after a bit, you may see some streaks of, like, let's say green. In our games, it always seems to be green. So you'll come up and they're like, lo and behold, there's 3 greens there. Well, that's an opportunity for somebody to go in and say, well, gee, nobody's really touching green right now. Everybody's got all these other cards in their hands. And, let's suck up a bunch of greens. I know there's probably some more in the deck. So you can kind of turn over green quickly that way. So there's some interesting sort of manipulation and tactics, involved with, where you go, what space you land on. So I may go here to pick up something, and I know that I'm blocking the cow space for the black cubes because they're going to get $5 on this space versus 4 for the other space. And there's some, tactics there, and also with which cards you pull up in your hand. So I may, pull up a gas card, because I know that somebody's sort of, they're running low on gas cards and they really need to move, and I want to make them spend cash. You can pick up other cards. So there's a lot of little cool things that can happen here within this sort of compact game. And again, the configurability of the routes and the board and everything make it really cool. Now there also is a truck stop expansion with sort of like a built-in expansion. I pretty much hate this thing. We've tried it 3 times now, and every time the person that didn't buy one of these special ability cards won the game. So basically what this is you randomly shuffle out and deal some of these special ability cards out, and then on your turn, if you want, you can land on that space and then buy it for the dollar amount. And there's a whole swath of abilities. I think there's like 12 or 15 in the game. And they basically let you break the rules. Some will let you move diagonal, some will let you pay $1 and stay on a space so you don't actually have to move. There's a bunch of stuff like that. I don't really like these at all. I mean, the one I think maybe is the best is there's one that actually lets you land on a distribution center, and then for your turn you can draw 5 cards, and then you discard 5. So you get to draw a whole bunch of cards first and kind of set your hand up. And I was actually able to make really good use of this. But that one turn that I wasted, sort of buying that special ability, this was in a 2-player game in this case, that my opponent go and kind of get a nice little sort of turn going through, the deck of cards coming up and make some nice deals. And so he was able to pull ahead. But then I was able to use that car wash thing like twice and then do 2 big massive buys and sells. And I almost caught him, but, he won that game. And like I said, in the other games that we played with 2 and 3, then whoever didn't buy those won. So what I would think to do, I haven't tried this, is maybe shuffle them up, deal 1 special ability out to everybody, and then that's your special ability for the game, and you've got to kind of manipulate that. Now I do think some are better than others though, so there may be some that you have to pull out or something and sort of adjust that. But I like that they're there, but it just doesn't seem to work, and it's kind of afterthoughty. So I mean, now we won't play with them at all. We may try to do that thing where we deal them out and see how that works, but don't really like it at all. But other than that, the game is great. I think it's a fantastic game. Like I said, it's a tiny bang for your buck little game. You can play it twice in an hour, and for that type of game, it's excellent. It's just an excellent little game. There are, like I was saying, all the things I said before about the opportunities for denying cards and, seeing the markets kind of, there's a little bit of ebb and flow, because the deck is not huge, so, if you think a Ticket to Ride, that's a huge, massive deck. And yeah, you can kind of take cards and deny people an orange or something, but you pretty much probably need it too somewhere else on this big massive board. This is actually a little bit more, you can be a little bit more impactful, with your decisions here, and then the whole board space and how that changes every game is really neat. So definitely, I would pick this up. If you are into fillers at all and want a game that is going to give you some like like they say some games have lots of meat. I would say these are sort of like chicken strips. It's got meat to it, but it's just kind of a snack. It's a meaty snack. So that's great, Heartland Hauling Company. So take a look at it. Thanks.